For AI to work correctly, it needs to identify patterns correctly. Patterns are things like aspects of an object located in specific areas to identify it, like identifying a car part or wing part for a plane, identifying patterns in the data to signify a change in customer behavior or a business opportunity, or patterns in how something moves along the factory floor, across the road, or even on store shelves. For AI to work, it needs to be able to identify patterns, but it will never do it 100% correctly. But we have to strive to improve AI to optimize it so that we increase its accuracy. But the thing is that we have to consider that AI is not going to be correct all the time, and there is a business impact when it is not right. So when designing AI, picking the data sets, you have to ask two questions. What does the business gain when the AI works? What does the business lose in terms of costs and risk when the AI doesn't work? When doing AI and designing AI, there is a AI part that you optimize, and then there is a manpower part where you complement the AI to keep it on track. It's very important you do this because you don't want the AI to go completely off the rails. You want some sort of kill switch, some way to intervene in the AI. And the best way to do this is to plan ahead. The business should know the answer to those two questions. What's it going to do if the AI is right, and what it's going to do when the AI is wrong? It doesn't matter what kind of AI it is. If it's client-facing AI, where it's targeting prospects, trying to convert them to customers and retain and service customers, or if it's production AI, where it is focusing on the factory floor, supply chain, or moving patients through a hospital, or it could be things involving with financial AIs, where it's looking at expenses, budgets, managing them, looking at business opportunities in the data that would give the business a high return and then recommend to the business on what they should do. With all these AIs, it needs to identify patterns correctly for them to work. And business needs to respond when the AI works and when the AI doesn't work. A car dealership targets a prospect to sell them a new car, but it's the wrong prospect. What are the costs? Well, they just incur costs from targeting the prospect. They don't experience any other costs or risks. But what if that prospect is a current customer and the dealership is trying to sell them a new car, especially when they already bought a car not too long ago? It could turn that customer off, not wanting to deal with that car dealership at a later date. But what about this? The car dealership has a service area where they maintain cars, and they inappropriately targeted a customer that paid $10,000 in car repairs, and they sent a message to that customer, "We'll buy your car for $10,000. How will that customer react? These sort of things need to be considered when dealing with AI. What about things involving with production? A machine has been predicted to break down, but it's not going to break down. What's the cost of the business when the machine is checked? They just incur the costs of it being checked. No other costs, no other risks. But if the AI is wrong and thinks that the machine isn't going to break down, and the machine actually does, what's the cost? Loss of revenue, higher costs in repair, angry customers, and even more revenue being lost, reputation. Those costs need to be considered when designing AI and designing the business processes that support AI. What about things involving with the hospital, where a patient is assessed and they are assessed incorrectly that they have cancer, or assessed incorrectly that they don't have cancer? Each of those are different costs, different risks, different liabilities. Things involving with financial AI has some similar issues too, as well. But because people like keeping their eyes on the cash, on the finances, on the expenses, there's always a lot of sign-offs with these AI, a lot of intervention. So the risks and the costs are relatively minimal. People do not like it when money starts flowing out and they don't understand why. But you notice here that each of these different types of AIs, they form an ecosystem in the company, and that a failure in one can cause failures in other AIs. So you need people to support, to intervene, and to do different processes according to how the AIs are correct and incorrect. An AI can be wrong two ways. It can have a false positive, it can have a false negative. A false positive is it thinks it's something, but it's not, and a false negative is it thinks it's not something, but it is. In business, for companies, the costs and risks may be different based on a false positive versus a false negative. We need to strive to improve the accuracy of our AI to reduce the risks and costs to the business. We can do this by optimizing the AI's model, by giving it more training data. But we have to be prepared that we will reach a floor where we can't make the AI more accurate. Despite how much more data we give it, it will be the same or even become less accurate. So to get past that floor, we need to add additional models to the AI and then balance those models out to make the overall AI more accurate in identifying patterns. These different models that work under the same AI umbrella, they don't have to be the same kind of AI implementations. They can be neural nets, they can be semantic, they can be rule trees, doesn't matter as long as you balance them out and have them work in tandem. There are even different combinations of how you can put them together. You could have phases of how models are stringed together in sequence, done in parallel, through a network, many possibilities. But eventually you get to a point where the AI is just extremely difficult to train, extremely difficult to maintain. And when it breaks, you'll have no idea how to fix it. To get around that, you can use multiple AIs. This helps reduce the complexity, makes it easier to train and retrain. It also allows you to target each AI separately using separate environment settings. It helps you better load balance your AI, but also helps you better manage the risks from AI because there are multiple different integration points between the AIs and the business. But there becomes a problem because with the more AIs you have, the more risks that can occur in the business. To get around that, what you should do is use an AI that helps optimize the risks, mitigate the risks within your company. So have an AI to do it. It doesn't have to be a smart AI. It just has to be an AI that makes sure all the other AIs don't go too far off track, that they stay within their predefined set parameters. Once the AI ecosystem is better understood, the risk management AI can be optimized further to reduce risks and costs to the business. The key thing with good AI is that it is good at identifying key patterns. That's how AI works, and that's how AI will work extremely well. When designing AI, you have to ask yourself two questions. One, what does the business gain when the AI works? And two, what does the business lose when the AI fails? When AI fails, it can fail in two ways, with a false positive and a false negative. These are risks and costs to the business. When designing AI, you have to complement it with designing the business processes that support AI.